Hey, and welcome to FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast, a podcast for people who want to get no BS information about fitness and know that fitness is about so much more than losing scale weight. It's about feeling confident in your skin and empowered in your life. I'm your host, Turo Virta, personal trainer, strength and nutrition coach, and most of all, a husband of my beautiful wife, Miriam. Each week, my guests and me will give you some no BS fitness tips and motivate you to take action in your own personal fitness journey as we talk about nutrition, exercise, mindset, personal development, and executing in life with enjoyable but still effective strategies. If your goal is to look better, feel and be strong and experience transformation from inside out, you, my friend, are in the right place. Thank you for jumping in. And now let's jump into today's episode. So welcome to FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast. Today's episode, I have my friend Mike Battaglia, and we are talking about Mike's own fat loss journey and what kept him staying in a shape in basically whole his life. So welcome to the show, Mike. And just before we get into today's topic, please introduce yourself a little bit, who you are, where you are living, how old are you, what you are doing for a living, and
yeah. Fantastic. So I'm super excited to be on this show with you. In my 1 year or so on social media, you were like the first person I found. And then I realized that 99% of fitness people are not like us. Like, I got really lucky to find somebody that actually went to college and learned from real textbooks about fitness instead of learning everything on the internet. So I'm 52 years old. I live in San Francisco currently, born and raised here. I lived in Vegas for 10 years. I lived in Southern California for 10 years. I spent about 20 years training mostly fitness girls, fitness models. I've had a lot of other side jobs, and the last couple of years, I decided to dedicate the second half of my life to helping people with their fitness goals. It's something I always wanted to do. Like a lot of people, when COVID hit, I kind of left another career and said, you know what, this is my sign, this is my time. I am going to seriously help some people. So let's get at it. So I'm in the Bay Area now, and I'm excited to be on this show with you. This is fantastic.
Awesome. Me too. I'm excited. So tell a little bit about your backstory. You shared a little bit when you were in your 20s, mid-20s. You are in amazing shape for 52 years old. I'm still sure that some people are turning around and looking at what the fuck is that guy doing, but it was not always that way. So tell a little bit about your own journey, how everything turned out.
So I just told somebody the other day, I was very fortunate as a young guy because my father was a serious workout guy. And in our house, we had what I like to call the greatest home gym anyone's ever seen. Like, it was a 3-car garage with no cars, and we had all the weight training equipment, cardio machines. I mean, it was awesome. And so I grew up with it. I started working out at 14 years old, played 3 sports in high school, played football at college. And by the time I was 25, 26, I finally had to stop playing football. And I was always a workout guy. And by the time I was that age, I had not only been working out for 10 or 12 years already, but like I had gone to college. I studied kinesiology and nutrition. I probably had 5 or 6 different personal training certifications. But my own problem was that I thought my level of fitness knowledge was here, but my level of fitness neuroticism was even higher. And what that means is what I thought I knew about fitness was not actually as great as what I actually knew about fitness. Mm-hmm. And by the time I got to 30, I knew I was gaining weight, but in my head, I was kind of like, well, I'm still the workout guy, right? I still go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week. I still eat a healthier diet than most people. And I knew I was gaining weight, but nobody ever said anything about it until right after I turned 30, I had to go get a physical for my job. And I'll never forget it. I saw a little Asian doctor, never seen him before in my life, super nice guy. He does a bunch of tests with me, and then he comes out and he's holding the paper and he's like, "Wow, your health pretty good, but you got one problem." And I'm like, "Yeah, health's good." Wait, what? What do you mean I got a problem? What do you mean I don't got a problem? I'm great. What are you talking about? Well, And I'm like, no, doc, I don't know what you're talking about. What problem? He's like, "Well, you're a fat guy." And I'm like, "I'm what?" "Well, you're fat." And I'm like, "Doc, I'm not fat. I'm bulking up. You don't understand bodybuilding. You got to get big first. I'm bulking up." And he looks at the thing and goes, "You're 34% body fat. This technically morbidly obese. You're a fat guy. I'm a fat guy. We fat guys. You need to eat more vegetable. You need to do some exercise. I'm in the gym 5 days a week. I eat an almost non-fat diet. What are you talking about?" And at that time in my life, my biggest level of neuroticism over knowledge for me was that I thought I could gain muscle tissue without gaining any fat. I thought I could gain muscle tissue and actually lose fat at the same time. And what I eventually realized is that about 95% of people on this planet do not have the physical genetics to be able to do that. The very few people that can actually put on muscle and lose fat comes down to about 3 different types. Number one, someone who's brand new to fitness, brand new to weight training, right? They've never worked out before, never been on a high protein diet. And even if they can do it, they can build muscle and lose fat. It usually only lasts for a couple of months. Then you got the genetic freaks, which are the guys that already look like they worked out when they were in high school, when they never touched a weight and they ate nothing but garbage. And then you have all the people on anabolic steroids and growth hormone, and I wasn't any of those things. So I thought I was getting like bigger and gaining more muscle, and I would eventually start to get leaner. I finally realized it wasn't going to happen. And I was at 6'3", I was 284 pounds, I was 34% body fat, and I had a size 42-inch waist. And what's so funny is to this day, I'm still mad at the people around me for not being like, "Hey, Mike, come on. You're like the fitness guy, and you've been gaining a lot of weight, man. Come on, this is not you." And I'm mad at those people for not saying anything, but it's one difference. If you're a guy and you got to loosen your belt, right, because you gained a little weight, that's a sign. But in my case, I was having to buy new belts. When you have to buy bigger belts and it has not occurred to you that you're probably gaining fat, that's an internal problem. Yeah. And I'll never forget it. I went home that day and I decided that instead of working out and training to what I thought was right, I was going to work out and train to what I actually learned in college. And an amazing thing happened, because less than 2 years later, I had lost about 100 pounds of body fat.
Wow.
I literally started getting work as a fitness model and writer. And the funniest part about this story was I went back to see some friends that had not seen me in a couple of years. And I literally walked right past people that had worked with me for years, and they were kind of looking me in the face and being like, and then when they realized it was me, it was like, "Oh my God, what did you do?" And I didn't want to tell them. I finally decided to work out and eat according to science instead of the BS that I thought was right in my head. So I remember I made up this story about horses. So I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever seen a fat horse?
Nope.
Right? And I would ask people, what do horses do differently than people? And eventually people would say, don't they sleep standing up? They sleep standing up. So I made up this joke. This was over 20 years ago, and there's still people mad at me, that I was working with a company that developed a bed that you hook up to electrodes. And once you get to that REM deepest sleep, this bed puts you up to a vertical position while you're strapped in it asleep, right? And it causes your growth hormone to increase by 10 times. Your metabolism gets 10 times faster. I made up this story on the spot as a joke. And there are still people to this day that are pissed off at me because I won't tell them where to get this special bed. I am not kidding. They literally will not talk to me because I got in shape by a special mattress more than 20 years ago, and I will not share this information with them. 100% true story.
That's so funny. That's so funny. But that it's just a good example how, misinformation can be going all over. Like now, obviously, at the time there was no internet, nothing. Now in social media, like when you see posts, like it feels like that more information, more inaccurate information you are posting, more attention they are getting as all those platforms. Obviously people are watching those, they are interesting, and platforms ultimately all they don't care if that information is actually accurate. They care about how much they are engaging, how long they are watching those videos, and that is making it so hard. And if you are someone like some new people or some young people who don't have maybe that knowledge, like as a coach or a professional, then you don't know where to believe, and because there is so much and controversial information available, so you have no idea who to believe. So what was then how you then actually did it? Like what action steps you took? Like if it was not that new machine, so what were the things what you actually did?
Well, believe it or not, for the first time in my life, especially, I was still a pretty young guy at 30. For the first time in my life, I needed to classify what my physical goal was. Was I trying to put on more muscle, or was I trying to just lose fat and not lose any muscle? Mm-hmm. And once I did that, I'm not kidding, 1 pound a week after week after week. And I always tell people that the biggest problem in the fitness industry right now, besides misinformation, is people using a scale to determine whether or not their fitness plan or diet is working. Mm-hmm. And you have people, and I know people, they will weigh themselves several times a day. Mm-hmm. And I tell people all the time, the scale lies, but your mirror will tell the truth. Your clothes will tell the truth. And many years ago, I had a guy saying, well, how am I going to know if this is working? I said, all right, I got an idea. I said, what size is your waist? And he said it was 40. And I said, what size do you want it to be? And he said 36. I said, here's what we're going to do. I want you to go out and I want you to find a really expensive pair of pants, size 36. Make sure they're, $300, $400, $500. None of this cheap stuff you could just throw away. And one time a month, you're going to try those pants on. And it's probably going to take you several months till you fit in them. But I promise you, if you follow the science, if you eat the right way, if you do the right workouts, one of these months, you're going to put on those pants and they're going to fit. Yeah. And it's going to give you a feeling that is 1,000 times more powerful than getting on a scale and looking at a number that you made up in your head anyway. Mm-hmm. I keep trying to explain this to women. You know what no guy's ever done? No guy's ever seen a beautiful girl at the beach and went like, wow, that's a pretty girl. I wonder how much she weighs. Yeah. Never happened. It's never been a question. Yeah. We don't care. Yeah. It's all in your mind. You're either fit and you look, whatever that is, but the weight thing has got to stop. Oh, and yeah. I think what's happening on social media is you have all these people, I call them bad fitness enablers. Mm-hmm. So you'll see people on social media, and I have several personal friends. And I had a guy a couple of months ago who posted, I'm back in the gym again, had a good first week. I lost 7.4 pounds. Mm-hmm. And everybody that saw it, good job, buddy. Good for you. 7.4 pounds. Mm-hmm. But me personally, I'm seeing a mental health issue. Because he didn't say, I'm back in the gym, I lost a few pounds. He didn't even say, I lost 7 pounds. He said, I lost 7.4 pounds. If that doesn't tell you how obsessed this person is with weighing a certain amount, there's no psychologist that could possibly explain this any better.
Yeah.
And it's got to stop. It's got to be the stand-in, buy-all. This is the gold seal of how much you weigh. Because the one thing people don't understand is the best bodybuilders in the world, right? I'm sure you know professional these guys that have the best physical genetics, right? God-given genetics to be fit. It's like being 7 feet tall, right? The best genetics. All they do all day is work out. They're on the best anabolic steroids and growth hormone. They have the best meals prepared. And when they try to lose fat, they don't ever try to lose more than 1 pound in a week. Why? Because they are deadly afraid of losing muscle tissue. It doesn't matter how much weight you lose if you're also losing muscle tissue. Yeah. And I know you have the same feelings about like cardio, but a lot of women still don't understand that. And I explained this the other day. The absolute worst way to lose weight is to go on a restricted calorie diet, which we both know you have to do, and combine that with just cardiovascular exercise. The end result will actually be a less appealing looking physique than if all you did was diet and didn't do any exercise. Because yes, cardio burns calories, and yes, cardio has health benefits, but cardio can also easily eat up your muscle tissue. And you cannot afford to lose muscle tissue at all costs. I don't care if you're 20 or 80. That is the key to your metabolism. I'll give you an example. When I was 30, I had a metabolic rate test done. And I was 285 pounds, and I was burning like 2,800 calories a day at that weight in a medical lab at UCLA in Los Angeles. Once I got in shape a couple years later, that number jumped up to about 3,400 calories a day, and I was 100 pounds less. The biggest misconception among people getting older is that because we have birthdays, our metabolism automatically slows down. But it has nothing to do with the birthdays. What it has to do with is how much muscle tissue are you losing each year?
Yeah.
How much fat are you gaining? It's about body composition. So to give you a quick example, at 32 years old, I was, I'm 6'3". I was probably 210 pounds at 5 or 6% body fat. At 52 years old, I'm about 5 pounds less, right? I'm about 200, 205. I'm still 5 or 6% body fat. And my metabolism burns 98% as many calories as it did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same body composition.
There was actually pretty new recent study about this, and it's like you said, you are the greatest example of it. And in that study, it shows that up to you turn 60, there's almost no decrease on your metabolism, and then only after age of 60 there will be some kind of like a little bit more. It's still nothing significant, but for the most reason why that you think that when I'm aging, you like things what I did in the past, they are not working anymore. They are as a result, as you might, if you don't do any kind of resistance training or strength training, you are losing muscle tissue. You might be a little bit less active than earlier, and at the same time you are maybe having a little bit more enjoyment, and all these combined, even they are not big changes, but let's say that each thing, like a little bit less movement, let's say you walk or move around a bit less, 50 calories per day less, sounds like that doesn't make any difference. Then you have a little bit less muscle tissue. Let's say you burn 40 calories less per day, doesn't make any big difference. And then maybe you have a little bit more enjoyment. You eat on average 50 calories more per day, which is basically nothing. But if you combine all these things at years, it's 150 calories per day, and you add 10 years, or let's say 10 weeks, it's in 10 weeks, in a week, it's you multiply that with 7, it's 1,000 calories, and multiply that 7, it's in 2 months, it's 2 pounds losing fat. It's not always, math is not going like that. It's not so simple, but just to have an idea why all these things might happen. And then, obviously, there could be at the same time, you have some kind of, for women, it could be menopause, having some hormonal disbalances, which are affecting also. But ultimately, the most common reason is that people then, you blame it for something else, when honest truth is that if you look like without having any emotions, that why my metabolism is so bad, or why something is wrong, there is always a reason for that. And when you find a way what is sustainable for you, it could be including cardio, including strength training, low intensity cardio, making sure you eat enough protein, like all this, like prioritizing your sleep, hydration, like all of these things, what I'm sure that everybody who listens this is have heard like 1,000 times, but it's really combination of all these things, which basically almost everybody already knows. And it's not about finding that magic pill or latest pill, what is giving you a workout, what is giving you the best results in a short term. So, and by the way, what I wanted to say about that scale weight, I love that idea about those bands, and having some kind of different goal than that, losing that scale weight, because that like I did it post also last day. Like it's very simple. Actually, I did an episode with Skylar. It was one of my first podcast episodes. In her situation, she participated for that kind of like what you had in US, like some company had like that you bet against yourself that you have to hit weight loss goal within some time. And so you had a timeline for your weight loss goal, and it was like almost like unrealistic, like losing 20 pounds in 3 months or whatever. But I was like that, okay, it's to be sustainable, it's going to be too fast, but I can help you to get there. And that's how we got started. And actually, I didn't tell her that I'm going to teach her sustainable ways how to do it. And we did it. And then in the beginning, she lost some weight. Everything was going well. It was way too slow, but I said, don't panic. We will get you there. And, but at the same time, she learned skills, what will benefit her for the rest of her life. And then there were like 4 days before that, when she had that day when she had to be in that weight, she had still 9 pounds to lose. And I said that's not going to be a problem. We will get you there, but it's not going to be methods, what you are going to. And that's what I said all the time, that don't panic. If it's less than 15 pounds within last 4 or 5 days, we will get your scale weight going down. And then basically what we did is that you cut completely all carbs out, you cut completely all sodium out. Right. Then I said that if you want to, you have to, you can drink water, and actually that is helping. But then the last moment, the only thing what you have to do, like I had friends who are doing like some kind of wrestling competition, right, and they had a weigh-in days, and I was actually asking them what they did, and those same things that then you go to sauna, you ride a bike in a sauna, or you just you go in a hot tub. Doesn't matter, you sweat. No, hot tub actually it's not probably not the best idea, because it could be that that water is going also inside, but you are doing something, some kind of activity, like those my wrestler friends, they were doing like putting like all winter clothes on in summertime, and going for doing some kind of cardio to sweat out. And after that, they were not even allowed to take shower, so that water didn't have any chance to go. They were just using a towel to dry that all sweat away. And you are losing water weight, all water. You are so dry in the moment, but your scale, you will see the different number on the scale. And it was in Skylar's case too, like 4 days, 9 pounds, she lost it, she made it, she won that bet. But like she said, that was actually to see that number, it felt good to win that bet, but actually how she felt on that number, that was way too low for her. And she said that was the worst feeling of her life, to have that kind of, I said that, and it's not going to be, if methods what you are using are not going to be sustainable, it doesn't matter what kind of results you are getting, because it's not going to be sustainable anyways. And that's why I really loved that idea, like having some kind of other measurable, like if you have a new pair of pants, or you have maybe like, I don't know, guys maybe don't have so much, but I'm sure a lot of women have, at least they have some old pair of pants or old dress in their closet, what they haven't been able to wear for years. And often, where is that coming from, that scale number? It's coming from that feeling what you had when they were fitting into those pants or fitting into those clothes, or how they felt before they had a kids, or when they were in 20s. And now you think that when I weigh that same amount, I will feel the same. But when the reality is that it's not going to be that way anyways. But if you have kind of goal like that, if you have some kind of pants where you want to fit, and then when you get there, you have reached your goal, and it doesn't matter, because it could be that your scale weight, it's a lot higher than before, but you are still, your body composition, and you look and feel a lot better than actually reaching that number on the scale, or what you are trying to reach.
Yeah, the last time I did the pants thing with somebody, it was probably about 6 months, and he only had about 15 pounds to lose, and I still wouldn't let him weigh himself. And when the pants fit, I said, let me ask you a question. Do you honestly care how much you weigh right now? And he just started laughing. No, right? Like, and the funny thing is, about 10 years ago, I started asking people, especially women, if a woman weighs 150 and she says, well, I want to weigh 130. I started asking why. Why do you want to weigh 130? And I found out it has a lot to do with what they weighed when they were younger, maybe in high school.
Yeah.
The problem is, even if they starve 20 pounds off, right, and they get back to the 130, their body composition's not going to be the same as it was in high school, so they're not going to look the same.
Yeah.
And what most people don't understand about, this rapid weight loss, if you've been gaining weight for the last, say, 5 years, just slowly, like you said, I'm eating a little bit more, I'm moving a little bit less. So you've been slowly gaining weight for 5 years, for 10 years. And if your metabolism burned 2,000 calories a day, just to keep this simple math, and then you lose 20 pounds where it's mostly muscle tissue, people need to understand that their metabolism no longer burns 2,000 calories a day. Now maybe it burns 1,800 because you lost 20 pounds of muscle. Yeah. So if you gain weight before, when you were burning 2,000 calories a day, how in the hell are you not going to gain weight now that you burn 200 calories a day less?
Yeah. So, no, that's exactly right. And it's more often you repeat that cycle, like losing weight, losing muscle tissue, and then regaining everything, starting all over, like kind of yo-yo dieting. Every time your metabolism is going to be lower, and that is then it's often when it's like when I work with some kind of yo-yo dieters who have been doing this for years, or if not decades, to get started. Like, it's so hard to understand that that this is that can your metabolism have probably adapted, not just, but it's not damaged or anything. It's working also in opposite direction, but you have to get out of that cycle from gaining and losing weight and do it in a proper way. So then now, what were the things what you realized in your journey, like how did you change your meals when you when you were in your 30s and you started to use those scientific approaches, and you are a chef, I know you are doing a lot of recipes, you enjoy cooking, so what kind of things you pay attention when you are doing your meals?
Well, I'll tell you this. When I was gaining weight, like from 25 to 30, I was still eating an incredibly low-fat, high protein diet, but I was eating too many carbs. So for the last 20 years since I've been in shape, I probably eat 250 grams of carbs every single day. I am not a low carb guy. But back then, for example, I got this thing in my head, especially when I was in my 20s, that I could put on just muscle by eating massive amounts of calories, but not eating any fat. So like a typical meal for me would be an entire 16-ounce bag of pasta at one serving with like a can of tuna, because I was broke back then. So like, like a chicken breast or a can of tuna, right? So I had, 40, 50 grams of protein, but I had 200 plus grams of carbs at every meal. And the scary thing is when I got to that doctor and he did blood work, I did some further testing and he's like, how long have you been a diabetic? And I'm like, what? I was a type 2 diabetic and didn't know.
Wow.
No idea. And I was like, what? I was on a drug, an insulin drug called glucophage. And what's funny is about a year and a half into it, I had lost most of the weight by then. And I was still taking it because they told me to. And I would have episodes where I'd leave my house and just start shaking. I could feel like my blood sugar just completely messed up. And it was because I hadn't needed that medicine for many months. And I was still taking it because I just didn't go to the doctor so he could say, yeah, you can stop taking it. So over the last 20 years, I can't tell you how many doctors I've had to phone personally or email and say, look, this person was this 6 months ago, and he or she does not feel like she needs this medication anymore, but you are her doctor. I want you to sign off on this. And the problem is that if you really want to get bad information about fitness or nutrition, go directly to your doctor. I mean, your doctor knows about as much about fitness as I do auto mechanics. And I couldn't tell you the difference between a 6-cylinder car and an 8-cylinder car if my life depended on it. The only thing I know is the 8-cylinder is supposed to be faster. That's about it. And doctors are not prepared for that. And I've done some work with physicians, and it's amazing to me that you can go to med school and you can specialize in anything, right? You could be a proctologist, OBGYN, right? Anything. Why don't they have a specialty for actual doctors in fitness?
Yeah, but that's I think there's a lot of big difference. Like obviously some doctors are a lot more educated, but what I hear often, especially in US and it's also here in Italy, like if I have let's say I have a client who have some kind of injury or something, they go for a doctor. And like I had when it was, for example, when there was a COVID, like you go to US, and a doctor is saying after COVID, you have to 6 weeks, you are not allowed to do anything. Like, and I said that is that you have to understand, obviously, they don't care. They obviously take care, but they have to think also they have all the ability if something happens. So it's always a lot easier to say that don't do anything. You are not allowed to do anything. And then, because if you do, then it's not my fault. Instead, if you are telling that, yeah, you can do some light sport, you do something, then something happens, that doctor is in huge trouble because they have a responsibility. And, and nowadays you have to find some guilty person from somewhere who is paying you some kind of money. So that's why I think there's a lot of these things what are not helping people, but it's also making the job from doctor, even they have maybe better knowledge or they would give maybe another advice for a friend than they would give for a client. And this is always something like, I'm also like, obviously if something is hurting, when there is a risk reward ratio is not there, it's not point to do it, and it's not always working harder, but you can do, let's say that I have a client now who had a surgery, and she can't do any heavy exercises. But
Right.
I love to use these kind of things, like the thing that what you can impact. If you can't do exercise, you can't do strength training, you can't stretch, but can you do like mobility exercises to improve your mobility, like doing normal movements which are not heavy, but which will help your well-being massively? If you can't do even that, can you walk? If you can't do that, can you focus, maybe pay attention more for your nutrition, educate yourself with nutrition? So there's always something what you can do. And instead of saying that the doctor said that I can't do anything, is that what you wanted to hear, that you can be a lazy or not do anything for next couple of weeks, but think it like a little bit that, okay, this is actually an opportunity to use it that time when I don't have so much time in other times when life is getting hectic and busy again. So you use that time, and most importantly is that you keep up, especially if you are someone who is working out and you haven't been that consistent. It's to keep that promise and taking that action and starting that workout. It doesn't matter what kind of workout, if it's mobility, if it's walking, but you keep up that habit and keep that promise what you made to yourself, that you become a person who is doing workouts.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up the nutrition thing, because normally if somebody, wants to get fit or lose weight, right, they're starting a nutrition plan and a workout at the same time. Mm-hmm. But occasionally, and I had this happen about a year ago, there was a woman that just had a really bad knee surgery, and she wasn't going to be able to do anything for about 3 months. Mm-hmm. And I said, here's what we're going to do. In the next 3 months, I want you to learn not just basic nutrition, but I want you to learn how to make 15 meals, 5 breakfasts, 5 lunch, 5 dinners, specifically for your needs. Or if you're going to cook for your husband, you and your husband, 2 kids, I want you to be the master where you don't even have to think about it, that you have 5 meals that you can prepare instantly. Mm-hmm. And she told me that about the second month that she was back in the gym, she said, I don't even remember how I used to eat. Mm-hmm. It's just, I go into the kitchen and it's like, I have these meals. Yeah. And I was like, wow, I'm going to keep doing that. So I've been doing it for a while now. And if they can't work out for some reason, they're sick, they had surgery, they have no access to a gym, right? All they can do is walk, or maybe they can't even do that. Focus on the nutrition, because for me personally, all I really did was eat a little more protein than I was eating and a lot less carbs. And I was always low fat. Mm-hmm. And it was literally like 1 pound a week, 1 pound a week, 1 pound a week. Now, if you're 100 pounds overweight, you're probably not going to get that excited about losing 1 pound a week. Mm-hmm. But what I try to explain to people is, if you have to lose 50 pounds, it better take you a year. Mm-hmm. Okay. And what people they want to get in shape so fast. I talked to a guy the other day. He's 48 years old. He's 50 pounds overweight. I said, it took you 48 years to become 50 pounds overweight, and you want to lose it in 2 months? Yeah. If it took you 48 years to build a business empire, right, you wouldn't expect that you could lose the entire empire in 1 or 2 months. You would have to really screw things up to do that. So it's the same thing. Yeah. And the biggest problem, like I said, is these expectations. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't even tell you how many things I see online where me personally, I saw an ad. Do you ever watch YouTube?
Yeah.
So there is an ad on YouTube about an ab training device that at first it was developed by the Navy SEALs. Mm-hmm. And the announcer, to me, it's like Saturday Night Live, because I think I'm watching like a fake commercial before I realize it's a real commercial. And the guy in Saturday Night Live is, if there's one thing you need to be a great Navy SEAL, it's a great set of abs. And I'm like, Did he just say that? Did he just say the most important thing of being a freaking Navy SEAL is having abs? Because if that's true, I'm going to go sign up tomorrow. I'm 52. I'm ready to go. I can't do anything else, but I got abs. Sign me up for the SEALs. And there's this commercial, and it says, this is the equivalent of doing 10,000 crunches a day. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting there. And what people don't understand is that when I was younger, before I gained a bunch of weight, when I was like a teenager, I was an underwear model. The only thing I had was abs. And then I got serious about football, gained a bunch of weight. And then when I stopped, I gained even more weight. I trained my abs every single day. And then when I woke up at 30 and realized I was way overweight, I said, you know what? I'm not going back to my old habits. I'm not going to train my abs when I'm 34% body fat. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And I never trained them again, because as soon as my body fat got down to 12, down to 10, down to 8%, oh my God, free abs. I didn't do a crunch. I don't even know if I could do 10 crunches right now for $1,000. Mm-hmm. And my abs look amazing. You cannot have abs. I don't care if that machine works. And it's like, Turo, this just gave you 10,000 crunches a day. If your body fat is not below 10% as a man, you're not going to have abs. I don't care if you have the strongest abs in the world, which, by the way, that terminology, like I'll have people train their abs once a week, but it's not for strength. It's for core muscular endurance. Mm-hmm. It's not for one thrust or two thrusts, right? It's like for hundreds and hundreds. You got to have muscular endurance in your abs, not strength. It's a completely different term. But these people with these ab exercises, like there was literally a video of a guy that's obviously like 400 pounds, and it says it can give anybody perfect abs in 6 weeks, even if he's 400 pounds. And I'm like, how are these people not in jail? Like, these people should be in jail. Like, seriously, that's like, you know, that you might as well be selling cigarettes to kids at a schoolyard with some of these infomercials with fitness. And I'm just, and that's why when I saw you, I was like, oh my God, this guy gets it. And by the way, after a year on social media, I'm only up to like 3 people that I actually like as trainers. 3. I've been at it for a year. Everybody else, I'm like, I had a guy the other day telling me that the reason vegan protein is so much better than animal, his example was that because oxes are the strongest animals and all they eat is grass. And I'm like, I can't tell if this guy's kidding, right? Like, did he just say it? And I'm like, buddy, I don't know if you're eating the grass, but you obviously seem to be smoking it. What the hell are you talking about? What do we have to do with an ox? Like, are you seriously trying to compare the human to an ox? Like, what? And it's getting worse. Like, believe it or not, just so everybody knows, I did not put butter in my coffee.
So when you are like, I know you enjoy cooking. How do you start that meal planning? And when you are planning your meals, like let's say that now you said that plan 5 breakfast ideas, 5 lunch ideas, 5 dinner ideas. How you are preparing and planning your meals, and what you pay attention when you are cooking?
Here's my personal philosophy and my number one passion. Neither of us believe in crazy diets that are not sustainable. I could never do it. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm amazed at how many people are so sold on keto, low carb this, low carb that. I don't know if they understand this, but my wife is a bikini fitness competitor. She eats very little carbohydrates the last couple of weeks. The last week before a show, I stay at a hotel a few blocks from the house. I don't want nothing to do with somebody that hasn't eaten any carbs in a week. They lose their mind. I don't know how anybody could eat that way with no glucose to the brain, because my wife has a $250,000 Ivy League education, Morton MBA, no carbohydrates for a week. It's like living with Mr. Magoo. I'm afraid to let her drive. It's dangerous. I don't know. And what happens is people will gravitate to whatever fad diet fits their cravings the most. For example, if you're somebody And I would ask people, if you could pig out on something, it's your last meal on earth, and you could either have the largest pile of steak you've ever seen or the largest pile of pasta you've ever seen. Anybody who chooses the steak is going to be drawn to the whole keto, fat, no carbs thing. People that would choose the pasta are going to go more, carbohydrates, less fat. But neither way is sustainable. So my idea of like with meals, I literally thought if I could learn how to make every possible meal that you're not supposed to eat to get in shape, then how am I on a diet? If I just told people what I eat every day, I had pizza. Before that, I had nachos. I had blueberry pancakes for breakfast. Because technically, that's what I'm eating. I just learned how to make it differently. Mm-hmm. I made pancakes the other day with cottage cheese. I thought it was the weirdest thing ever. They were fantastic. Yeah. Like my mom does not fool around. You're surrounded by older Italian women in Italy, right? They take cooking seriously. Yeah. My mom takes one bite of the pancakes and goes, come on, how the hell is that supposed to be healthy? There's no way that's healthy. And then I got, oh my God, the syrup's fantastic. I don't know if you know what Walden Farms is. It's a 0-calorie product. Mm-hmm. Like not low carb or low fat, 0. Mm-hmm. I went into an IHOP, no, it was a Denny's in Las Vegas. And I knew a guy that worked there, and I replaced all their syrups with 0-calorie syrups on a Sunday. And I watched people come in Vegas, hungover, eating all this horrible food. Not one person noticed I swapped all the syrups for 0-calorie syrups. Not one person noticed. And I'm sitting there going, these people at Walden Farms need to contact me because I could have just made them millions of dollars. Nobody even knows this stuff exists. So my passion is finding products in the supermarket to help people eat whatever the hell they want in terms of flavor of foods and still get in shape. Mm-hmm. They make real ground beef that has 4 grams of fat and 30 grams of protein per serving. Mm-hmm. I'll make it at barbecues and people are like, man, Mike, when was the last time you ate a hamburger? I said, only when I make this for you guys just to prove that you can actually eat a healthy burger and it still tastes fantastic. Well, it can't be healthy. It's a burger. Mm-hmm. If we asked 1,000 people what's healthier, a vegan burger, like an Impossible burger, right? A turkey burger that's like in a restaurant, not the 99% lean stuff, or a 96.4% extra lean ground beef, 99% of people would not pick the extra green, but that's the one. That's the leanest, healthiest one out of the 3. And nobody knows that. So my whole passion right now, what I'm working on is called the Lean List, which right now is over 500 products. Most of them you can buy on Amazon, and you can get that salad dressing sent to your house, the frozen meals, it's the meats. A lot of people are so afraid of processed foods. Mm-hmm. And I tell people all the time, if you can make everything from scratch with organic ingredients and you have the money and the resources and the time, you go ahead and do that. But let me be clear. You can get in just as amazing shape. It's not that the food is frozen or processed that's the problem. It's the frozen or processed with bad macros. That's the problem. Yeah. I bought some chicken strips. I know you don't have Whole Foods there, but I'm sure you heard of Whole Foods as like kind of yeah. So I bought some chicken strips there about a month ago. Mm-hmm. Per serving, they have 20 grams of protein, 2 grams of fat, and only 14 grams of carbs. Mm-hmm. They have 2 grams of fat, 20 grams of protein. I put them in the air fryer. Took one bite, and I was furious. Because I make 5 different types of those things, and those tasted better than all of them. Mm-hmm. I'm like, come on, man. It took me 2 years to come up with that recipe, and that's better. And people will be like, well, I don't want to eat it because it got sodium in it. Oh, my God. I'm watching people eat an entire pepperoni pizza, but they won't eat frozen vegetables? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just insane. It's not the processed or the frozen. It's the ones with bad macros. It's the high carb, high sugar, low protein. I teach people, you're talking about the 5 meals. I'll teach people how to get the best version of a frozen meal, lean cuisine, healthy choice, whatever. And all you have to do with those meals, even for women that don't need as much protein as a 200 plus pound guy, they are so easy to add a little protein to. A lot of them you can add some extra vegetables to. And about 15 years ago, I actually had clients in Southern California, and one of them was on one of the first Real Housewives show. And I was training them at their home, and I heard them talking about how they would never eat a meal that came out of a box. Like they were very hoity-toity, right? So they got this idea to have a dinner party, but these are all like, attractive women married to rich guys, right? They all got their image contest. So they don't want to have a regular dinner party. They want to have a healthy food. They want me to cook the dinner party is what I'm saying. So I decided, without telling them, I let them pick out a couple of things, and I made this chicken breast pasta dish with vegetables. All of it came from lean cuisine. Fresh chicken, fresh grilled vegetables, heated up all the things, put together nice and fancy, served 12 people. Oh my God, this is amazing. How could this be low fat? Oh my God, it's amazing. I said, would you like to see the secret ingredient? And you would not believe the look on my face. This was 15 years ago. I went in to the garbage can and got all the lean cuisine boxes, and they just went like this. Come on. I had to videotape myself making it to prove that it came out of the box. Most people that have been on a cruise will tell you the food is fantastic, right? You ever been on a cruise?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I like about cruises? I'm the only person I know that gets in better shape on a cruise for 2 weeks because I can walk up to a guy and go, make me an egg white omelet with 10 egg whites and 1 yolk and ground turkey, and I can have it anytime I want. It's like having a personal fitness chef the way I eat on cruises. I know most people are not like that. But the food on cruises that everybody raves about, right? You ever have food in the hospital?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Food's horrible, right?
Yeah.
You know
Most
what?
of them, yeah.
The same chicken that they sent to the hospital is the same exact chicken that they sent to that fancy cruise line.
Yeah.
You're on a cruise. You're not sick. You're with people you love. You're having a great time. Maybe you're drinking, right? The atmosphere versus being in a hospital. Oh, I'm sick. I'm in pain. I don't want to be here. It's the same chicken. It's all in here. So one thing about frozen meals that I do tell people is you don't ever eat a frozen meal out of the damn container it came in. Like, you'll see me show up in an office or something with 3 meals. 2 of them probably came from frozen meals. I just put them in Tupperware. Yeah. It's literally the least expensive way to food prep ever. Buy the meals, add the protein, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. But those are the things I noticed. And what I try to tell people, like for me personally, I had a lot of weight to lose. And I struggled like everybody else, but what I really remember is about 6 months after I started, I was in the gym, and I'm not kidding. This is how stupid this is. I was in the gym, and I was doing curls, and I looked in the mirror, and I saw a vein in my bicep that I had never seen before. Wow. And I literally just went like that. And it sounds like the stupidest thing ever, but that was the most motivating thing that went, wow, everything I learned in college was right. Everything I learned in textbooks about nutrition was right. Everything that I thought I knew was wrong. And it's funny because the great thing about being older as a fitness consultant, it's not like tech. If we were in tech and we went to college 30 years ago, we would be way behind, right? But in fitness, everything new is bullshit. It's all a fad. Everything, it goes back. There's no magic pills. There's no magic exercises. I have to tell women this. I've trained about 200 girls that have been featured in fitness magazines. Not one of them does anything different from any other one. They all train incredibly intense in the weight room, just like a guy. They just don't do all the body parts. They don't do traps. They don't do biceps. They don't do chest works. They're not trying to make their thighs bigger. But the squats and the lunges, all just like men. They eat the same diet. Okay, my 125, 130 pound wife, whatever, eats over 150 grams of protein a day. 30, 40 grams a shot. I know. I make all the food. Everything's the same. They weight train, then they do cardio, which is a whole other topic for a whole other idiot because it drives me nuts to see the other way around.
Yeah, no, because this is all like there is in fitness space there is a very little, like all these kind of trends, they come and go, and what is actually bringing results is that you find sustainable way for you, what suits to your lifestyle, not that you have to switch for some kind of diet or exercise program. Because if you don't enjoy it, you don't stay consistent, and you won't get results. And there is no fancy, if you are worrying like what is the best workout, what are the most effective exercises, they are very basic. Like if you have, for example, exercise selection, let's say 15, 20 different exercises, variations of them, and more exercises you don't need some fancy new machines or exercises. Those are basic exercises what you need. And like you said, what I loved in this example, like of meal planning, I literally had with my membership coaching challenge for this week was to try one new recipe what you have never tried before. And this is like you said, that we often have like 10, 15, maybe 20 recipes what are in our head, what that when it have to be, time is busy, what I should cook. And then when the time is that something comes out from your head, and if those macros they are not or calories, it might taste good, but if it's not aligned with your fitness goals, it's not helping you. And if you find some alternative, and it's not, if it's only one new recipe, one new thing, and there's in online, like in your lean list, if you search online, there's free recipes. I have a free cooking book in my coaching, providing monthly new recipes, ideas, just to try something different. And that is the key. Like, when you try, like, it don't have to. I literally just talked with one of my clients, said that she's at the moment, she's so busy at the work, so she prepared for a whole week, had a chicken, prepared it, cooked it, and froze it. And then, it's at least it's you have your protein source, what you are going to eat. You have maybe your vegetables prepared. They are for every single day. Then you swap, for example, sauce or do it sometimes with rice, sometimes with other source of carbs. But you have those basic things which are the most important. Protein, vegetables, they are prepared, they are easy. So already when you are prepared, you are planned ahead, it's getting so much easier to then actually do it with when you don't have a lot of time available.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, you have to be, getting in shape is very difficult. You have to be prepared to become fit. So that means not only making sure you have the right foods in your house, but I always have staples. Like there's always a thing of, grilled or air fried chicken breasts, right? There's always a thing of vegetables. There's always things that I can literally put in a microwave and in a couple minutes eat. Yeah. If I had to make chicken from scratch every time I ate, I mean, that's pretty tough. And why make one chicken breast when you can make 15 in an air fryer? I mean,
it doesn't, you don't need any more time, basically.
Yeah.
Perfect. Time went so fast, Mike. Thank you so much. Do you mind you are in social media? If people want to find you, how people can find you? If they want to work with you, know something more about Lean List or your things, where people can find you?
On Instagram, I'm under Guru of Grocery, Guru of Grocery. And on TikTok, it's Fitness Chef MD, Michael David.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I will add those links to show notes, so you can check Mike's social media and his content. And thank you again for listening, and talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Have a good day. Or not.
Hold up, friend. Do you love FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast? If so, the best way to say thank you is to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review on iTunes. I know every podcaster wants you to leave a review, but it's because those reviews help the podcast to reach more people. I truly want to know what you think, and if this particular episode resonated with you, would you also please share it? Either send a link to someone who you think will find it valuable, or take a screenshot and post it into your social media and tell your friends and family why they should listen it. Make sure you tag me so I can hear your feedback and give you a little love. And if you aren't already following me on Instagram or TikTok, that's the perfect time to hit that follow button. Thank you for being here and listening to FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast.